Greetings, everyone. Greetings from Austin, Texas. I would like to start by sharing my screen so we can look at some photos of my time on the IUCr Executive Committee. I served on the IUCr Executive Committee from 2010 to 2021, a dozen years. And I kind of want to give a quick overview of my time on the Executive Committee, focusing more on the people than the events that occurred there. 2010 is not a usual time to start a service on the IUCr Executive Committee. To understand that, we need to go back to 2008 in Osaka, when Senna Larson was elected president of the IUCr, and my good friend Lou Delbert was elected to the EC. This photo was taken after the ACA banquet in Toronto in 2009. Very tragically, Lou died later that fall, and that created a vacancy on the EC, and I was co-opted to fill that until the next General Assembly meeting. In Madrid, Senna Larson introduced the International Year of Crystallography. That was supposed to be 2013. Michaela came on the scenes as the winner of our logo competition. Gautam was elected president and Claude vice president of the IUCr. And the statutes were amended for geographical representation. Basically, that meant that we divided the world into 3 geographical regions: the Americas, Europe and Africa, Asia and Oceania. And the statutes were amended to guarantee there would always be a representative from each region. Also that year, the next year, we identified Samar Hosnain to be our new editor-in-chief. And Samar has brought new energy and ideas for our journals. In July of that year, the UN proclaimed 2014, not 2013, as the International Year of Crystallography. Nonetheless, we went ahead of a kickoff event for IYCr Bragg Symposium in Adelaide that December. We got to enjoy a banquet in the former home of Bragg. And it's always a pleasure to share that with good friends such as Mitchell Gus and Andres Lulius, whom I've known since I was a postdoc at Purdue. We got also to taste a specially enabled wine in honor of Bragg. In 2013, Han and I were able to visit Chester. This is 2 Abbey Square, where our famous IUCr offices are located. Chester is a charming city, and I really enjoyed our time there, chance to work and meet with the staff. Later, we met in Leuven for the Finance Committee, led very ably by Malcolm Cooper, and our host was Luc van Mervelt, and we continued to meet with the Finance Committee there. The last thing I'll mention in 2013 was the International Programming Committee meeting in Montreal. Jim Britton, our program chair, worked very well with commissions to put together an excellent program for the Congress. The first big event of 2014 was the opening ceremony for IYCr in Paris at the UNESCO headquarters. Claude and Gautam and Michaela handled the programming features. That was a very nice way to start IYCr. But IYCr was celebrated in many ways. We had bumper stickers, we had postage stamps, we had molecular models, we had crystal growing contests, we had public displays, and the IUCr kicked off a new journal, IUCrJ, as part of that celebration. Now we're in Montreal, and I want to include this photo of the outgoing EC in order to acknowledge the dedicated and outstanding service of outgoing members Elena Bodreva, Manny Perez Mato, Claude Lecomte, and Senna Larson. At that meeting, we introduced electronic voting for the first time. Very proud of that. Really speeds up our General Assembly meetings. We welcome many new countries to the IUCr community in Montreal. We approved Latvia as a 4th regional associate and named Prague as the site for the 2020 Congress. This is the elected EC coming out of Montreal, in addition to myself as president, Mike Glazier as vice president, Radek Kuzel, Masaki Takata, and Santiago Garcia Grande were elected to the EC. Later in 2014, there were many summit meetings, such as this one in Campinas, Brazil. 2015 began with the IYCr closing ceremony in Rabat, Morocco. Very elegant conference room, and the IUCr was well represented. Excellent program, fabulous banquet, a night to remember. Later that year, I was able to attend Indaba 8 in South Africa, and then the EC met with the European Crystallographic Association in Croatia. 2016, the Finance Committee continued to meet in Leuven, and I'll mention not a highlight, but a memorable event occurred the morning of March 22nd, 2016, about the time we were to depart. Suicide bombers attacked the airport and the metro station in Brussels, killing several people and shutting down all flights and rail transportation. But thanks to Luke, Mike, and Rao and I were able to get around Brussels and catch a train on the east side of Brussels and make it to London and work our way home. In 2016, the EC met in Denver, talked about the plans for Hyderabad, and endorsed the Open Data and the Big Data World Accord, launched IUCr Data, and the IUCr Associates Program. 2016, many other conferences later that year. I'll mention two. One is the first Pan-American Conference on Crystallography in Africa, and the other was the second LATCA Conference in Merida, Mexico, that I was able to attend. Now jumping to 2017, we're in Hyderabad, India. Finance Committee met with the Executive Committee, had a wonderful opening ceremony, at which time we presented the Ewald Prize to Sir Tom Blundell and had the traditional candle lighting ceremony as part of the opening. A few other highlights I'll mention was the dedication of the large sodium chloride model. And at the General Assembly meeting, we got to acknowledge the dedicated service of Mike Dacombe, who served as our Executive Secretary from 1993 to 2017. Two other things I'll mention came out of that Congress. The EC put forward a statement on gender balance that was approved by the General Assembly, and the Tubrag Prize was introduced to recognize younger scientists. Elected at Hyderabad was Sven as our new president and Hannah as our new vice president, with Ginny and Graciela added as new members to the IUCr Executive Committee. And here's a picture of the closing ceremony that was very, very nice. 2018, the only thing I'll mention was that the IUCr Executive Committee identified Andrew Allen to become our new editor-in-chief, replacing Samar, both excellent editors-in-chiefs. I threw this picture in because this is 2019 when IUCr Executive met in Covington. It was one of the last times that we had a chance to all be face-to-face at a meeting before COVID hit. And it shows the camaraderie of the good friendships that were made with those of us that served on the IUCr Executive Committee. 2020 and 2021 saw many, many, many hours of Zoom meetings, often held very early in the morning for me and thus very late at night for Ginny. Due to the pandemic, the decision was made to postpone the Prague Congress to 2021. And at that Congress, Hannah was elected president and Santiago vice president of the IUCr. I will close with this photo of the late Michael Rossman, taken in Montreal. I was a postdoc of Michael's in the early 70s, and my journey would not have been possible without that association. The second picture was taken last summer at Portland at the ACA meeting, where Bill Duax, Hannah, and I were all acknowledged as former or past presidents of the IUCr. I will close by just thanking you all for listening. And I want to thank Hannah and Santiago for giving me a chance to participate and take this walk down memory lane. Thank you. I hope you have a great Congress.